Okay, Dani, you're back in the studio. Wow, that is pretty cool, considering we had to have a guest host here the last show.
I know. I kind of took like a month hiatus because I was...
You've got a lot of news. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
You've got... You're going to share what you did?
Yeah. I mean, I took a little bit of time off to basically move across the country, literally, and... So
you're no longer a Denverite?
I am not. I am no longer.
How does that feel?
You know, it's a little bit sad. I mean, Denver was home for 15 years. And so it is a little bit sad. I have all my, I have my brothers here. I have all my friends, colleagues, who've turned into friends. And so.
And Gallup is a long way from brotherly love.
It absolutely is. I can't just get in my car and drive home anymore, which, I think. My parents are very, very sad about, but I've always wanted to be on the East Coast. And so when I had the opportunity to do it, I was like,
so tell people where you did. I gave them a hint, brotherly love.
So I moved cross country. I'm on the East Coast.
I know, but there's a lot of cities on the East Coast.
I'm now in Philly. And
Philadelphia.
It's funny because I think people automatically, when I told people that I was moving to the East Coast, they were like, you're finally moving to New York, because people know my love for New York is just out of this world.
So do you got the East Coast asshole-nish going already?
I think I might be the nicest person on the East Coast.
I'm sure,
he's
especially
shaking his
in
head.
Philadelphia. But I can say that because I'm from New York.
We got people shaking their head over here like, oh no, she's down. I've only been there for a little over a month. So, I mean, give it some time. But
so that's courageous. What a great thing. I know you cruised across country in your car with your puppy.
I did.
And you flew, man.
I did.
I've driven that probably 20 times, and you made good time.
I mean, I made it, in a day and a half, I think?
Saturday morning from Denver, and you were in, Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Before you stopped.
I made it to Philly, the Sunday night.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I was, if anyone's made that trip, you've made the trip, but if anyone else has made that trip, going across Kansas, I feel like you're already just going across the fucking country. And so
you took the southern route, then you cruised up. When you got to Ohio, you cruised kind of up, right?
Yep.
And there's I call it the southern route, which is Kansas, which is brutal. You go through Russell. That's probably the worst part that's where Senator Bob Dole's from.
I think I was
just
like. Is the
billboard still there?
I have no idea, but at any point during my journey, I was like, am I fucking still in Kansas? Am I still in Kansas?
So Nebraska's no better.
It took me 7-8 hours to go.
The northern route goes 76, and
Yeah.
then you catch I-80, and you head through Nebraska, and Iowa are no better.
Yeah.
Iowa's a little more entertaining because it's got rolling hills.
It was fine. I had company. I had a great company. My pup does really, really well in the car, so he was ready to road trip, and we trekked it together, and it was a lot of fun. I had every intention of stopping in every state that we passed and taking a picture of him and with the sign. And at one point, I was like, we're not doing this. We're just going to get to where we're going because I am sick of being in the car. So
well, it's great to have you back.
I'm so happy to be back in the studio.
Then the show won't be affected. You're still gonna.
Oh,
you're coming back. We got a huge fall lineup. We're starting that today. With who?
We are. And
who we got here?
I'm so excited.
Which, by the way, we get all these inquiries for people to be on the show. I'm not being a jerk or anything, but we don't.
Never.
We don't do phone stuff. We're just not ever going to do that. So, if you want to be on the show, we're going to ask that you come in the studio because you lose, in my opinion. It's just my opinion.
I love being in person, though. I think being in person with your guest is so important. And I love the banter back and forth. I love the chemistry. And so to start our fall season, our fall episode, I'm so excited. I've been really, really wanting this guest in studio for a really long time. And I think everyone will appreciate this when I say he's one of the funnest people in parking.
Yep.
And
probably most liked.
I would agree. I mean, aside from me, but you
and Todd Tucker are running. You guys are running parallel.
I get runner up for parking homecoming. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Thanks, John. I like how he said aside from me, and then you threw in Tucker there. But Tucker's a great runner up, so that's fine.
I'm in the basement, so I'm not. I've never made chord in anything. So
John has a habit of making friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, without further ado, please introduce yourself, guest.
Hello, everyone. I am Zach Souder.
So, for those of you that listen to the show regularly, we started our podcast. The first guest was your dad, Scott Souder.
Indeed.
So, I've got you listed as a co-founder of Mountain Parking because I feel like you were right there with your dad the whole way. Even when I remember when you were, I think 7 or 8. I don't know. You were young.
I appreciate that. I certainly don't get co-founder status in the family arguments.
Yeah.
But I definitely helped out for quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I'm sure your dad would agree. I mean, you added a lot of value.
Yeah.
You went to finance and went to college.
Yep.
But you were, most people probably don't know this. You were working as a kid with your dad because I remember it.
Yeah, 100%. That's, I like tell people it's like being Hank Hill in parking. Like I was born to sell parking and parking accessories. When people ask me what I do, I usually tell them I'm in parking technology, and I like model out the like pressing a button and getting a ticket and the gate arm going up, that sort of thing.
And they're so interested, they walk away.
Once they get over the shock of like parking,
What are you doing?
I just asked the like, "What do you do?" question, and I didn't expect you to bring an 11.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, like fine if they get past it. It's like, well, how did you get into that? It's like, it was a family business. So I grew up full-time summers, middle school, high school, cutting loops and digging ditches and wiring up gates. And
so tell us about the first time you went to work with your dad. Like, what were you thinking?
Well, and because just to go back to because your dad said that you went to school for accounting, but you did not.
That was so funny. So
you did not go because he called you.
Finance.
He called you a freak in the spreadsheets, I think is what he said.
That's exactly what you want to hear your dad say.
Yeah, Zach's got the pivot table action down.
So the funny thing is, it was, Dani and John show episode 1 that I found out that my father has no idea what I went to college for.
Oh my God.
Remember we had.
That's right.
So my dad was like, oh yeah, Zach got a finance degree. And I was like, well, at least I paid for my college instead of him because he didn't know what it was. No, so my degree was actually business information systems.
Okay.
So I did college. I graduated high school early. I started working full time for Mountain Parking. And I did my college nights and online and weekends. UC Denver's got a really good commuter campus.
Yep.
And so the degree was actually business information systems. So it was half the business classes that they'd force that you didn't want to take, like accounting is probably the class that I learned the most from. And it's because I had the opportunity to actually go back to a real business and look at.
So you weren't a finance major. Was there a minor in finance? Because your dad has told me finance for years too.
I think the reason was the accounting that I tell the story that I tell people is like that's a class I hated the most and I learned the most from. Because I, of anyone that goes to college, had the fortunate experience of being able to actually, instead of just like memorize, like, what is a general ledger? Like, I actually went and looked at live books, a live small company where I was like, oh, it makes sense because this is this and this. And so they relegated a lot of the financial responsibilities, like the high level planning, cash flow forecasting. I took on all of that very quickly because I took to it and was able to provide some value there.
Right.
And so I think apparently that's why my dad thinks I have a degree in finance.
Okay.
Because I did good.
All right.
You did good, kid.
So that makes sense now.
It's halfway between business and technology.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect fit for my personality.
Yeah, so you're you've always been like a technical sales guy anyway. So that makes total sense now.
Yep, exactly.
Plus the experience of actually, I mean, you're when I say tweaker, not a drug tweaker, but you like
There's a couple kinds of tweakers.
You like to
I'm the good kind.
Yeah, you like to tweak in everything. I mean, I love going over your house. You'll build your own sprinkler system. You'll have all these little gadgets and shit.
You know how they say that there's like it could be a jack of all trades, master of none? I feel like Zach is a master of all trades, honestly.
Thank you, Dani.
I really do.
No, I mean, have you been to his house? You go over there?
Yeah. He's like,
got
look at this,
his own
look at this
sprinkler
fence,
clock.
look at this shed that I turned into my.
Yeah, the sprinkler thing is I built my own sprinkler system. It runs on a little Raspberry Pi, and the reason I did that is because I just was lazy and I didn't want to dig an extra ditch. Like I ran out of the water heading down to a certain zone, so I was able to apply parking principles to to sprinkling because I actually have nested zones.
Interesting.
So instead of just a single thing, I have nests.
I love that you've nested your garden.
I got a tour of the house and the sprinkler system, which was kind of cool. That's nested. And there was chickens too.
I think for the listener, it's like, Zach can be a lot. Don't go to his house unless you want to be bored by him excited about everything.
So you have your fresh eggs, right?
Yeah, we have our little urban
chickens.
And
do you ever eat the chickens? Do you have cycle them out?
No.
No? Okay.
Both of you have met my wife, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody's
eating the chickens.
Eating the chickens. The pets are off the table.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody's eating. So you've got Costco chicken.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny because you run this little farm in the middle of the city, essentially.
Yep.
It's a little urban farm.
Yep. And his dad is
great.
2 houses down.
Yeah.
It's the greatest block that you could ever want to live on, honestly.
Yeah. My dad and mom always made super long commutes, especially as traffic gets worse and worse. I was like, you guys got to get an apartment up close to the office. Like, no, it's too expensive.
You're like a block from the old office.
I was like, you are destroying your spines. Pay whatever it takes in rent to just ease your commute. And then
they bought a house.
Yeah. Neighbor 2 doors down from me, we'd go to their house on weekends because they'd have barbecues with 30 people over, and it was like an open door invite for us. So when they needed to sell the house, my dad was like, nah, it's too expensive. I was like, all right, whatever. And then the next day he was like, okay, I'm interested. I walked home during lunch, just went to my neighbor's house and negotiated the deal during lunch. I walked back to the office. I said, house is yours if you want it.
Wow. That's so Souderish. It's
cool. Yeah.
So how often are they in the Black Forest now that they don't work?
Well, they were almost doing the same sort of commute schedule. Like my mom has a gym, the same gym that I go to in Denver, and she just has really picked up weightlifting and stuff like that. So she loves it. She makes it up. So they did do the same, where they would just live weekdays up in Denver, down south in their little kind of country home. But my sister had twins, and so they are full-time helping out with that.
Is this recent?
Yeah,
Mariah.
A month and a half ago. Yeah.
Mariah and she married the Celtic dude, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're both back to work, but they've alternating schedules, and my parents are filling in. And
wow. Well, congrats.
2 kids is bad enough. I can't imagine 2 kids at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you have 2 kids.
I have some experience in that with my brothers. So if they need a few tips, a few pointers, I can help them out there.
Okay, so back to my question. Your first day going to work with your dad, what did you say?
So there's never a first day memory because I was always there, right?
I want the first day.
So
that he took you to work.
I remember Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. I was 6. And there were some booths in Colorado Springs that needed to be moved. And so Scott and Ryan both had these massive forklifts, and my mom was the pit driver, and she was like, Scott, do you have to pull a permit to drive forklifts down a city street? And my dad was like,
oh my God,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Probably, but we're not talking about it.
So we'll get forgiveness.
So I'm 5, 6, 7 in the back of the truck and whatever day, and my mom's just sort of driving around slowly with the hazards and the wide load symbol that I'm sure my dad found somewhere as we're trekking multiple booths down Colorado Springs to relocate for.
Let me guess, it was for Griffith's Blessing.
Griffith's Blessing, I think.
Yep. Doris.
Yeah, and then I remember the office off of Santa Fe, sitting there plunking around when I was 11 and meeting you for the first time.
Yep. So I said 7. I lost it. It was 11. Yeah.
You were 11?
That's how I remember it. Who knows if it's true or not.
Yep. And I think you were, I saw you on different job sites.
Yep.
And Ryan, I saw Ryan at IPMI. He's still doing the Flash thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So you aspired to be in parking. When did that happen?
It was one of those things.
When did you say, I'm going to be like my dad and I'm going to be in parking?
It's one of those things that school came easily to me. I never had to try for anything. You just sort of crack the book and get a B on the test.
Fuck you, by the way.
Seriously.
Sorry. All right. Well, as it is, when you don't have to apply yourself and everything works out, as one would know and do.
As we all.
I mean, like everyone's got their different struggles with, school. I happen to take tests easily, right? Like it doesn't. Yeah. It's just like
I hated people like you.
Well, it's just a certain vein of intelligence. It's just like easy recall, and like how to take the test rather than understand the material. So it was one of those things where I never, you just sort of kept flowing through, and things came easy. So working hard didn't make a difference. But when I actually went to work with the family, it was like, no, like if I do this, I can make a difference. And so like right when I graduated from high school, my dad wasn't doing the like incidental sales, like ribbons and tickets and stuff like that. He was like, I'm too busy to do this. I'm just going to tell customers no. And if a customer says, hey, can I get this from you? I'm going to say no because I'm too busy. And I was like, wait, I think I could figure that out. So like I figured it out, and I figured out all the suppliers and like what the margins needed to be, and I built spreadsheets. Great, here we go with spreadsheets.
This is where your dad really thought that you had a finance degree.
Yeah, one sales. No, but it was there was the first time in my life when I was like, oh, if I work hard, like positive outcomes will come from this. And it was just from that point forward, it was just like every bit of it was the next logical step. And being in a small company, you have the ability to make these changes, make these tweaks, and see the outcomes,
So when you were going to school, did you continue to work with your dad?
100%. Yeah, I started working full-time right out of high school. All of my college was nights and online and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And like, I don't want to like jump too far ahead, but I think I always say like mountain parking. I think if you go back to like the beginning episodes, I've always praised mountain parking because you guys were so small. You guys were a great company. You had an amazing team, like you, Casey, your dad, some of my favorite people in parking. You were able to, like, you were small but very, very mighty. Like, and you were such a big part of growing mountain parking and making it what it was. Like, from a leadership standpoint, like, how did you contribute to that? Because you essentially ended up with such an amazing team. I mean, like, not even to mention like Annie, Bree, like all these amazing people that I like.
Deep roster.
Deep roster.
Are a lot of those people that you brought in towards the end, are they still with Flash, like Bree?
A lot of them are, yeah. Bree's with Flash, Ryan's with Flash, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Wow. And then the other gal went to SP.
Annie.
SP through to Metropolis for a bit. She's at Spot Hero now.
Oh,
and Casey,
shout out to Annie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And Spot Hero is a sponsor of this show.
Here we go.
And Casey's the GM of Mountain West.
Danny, that was a great question. So my dad is a fantastic leader, but he's a lead from the front, lead by example, which is ultimately the best kind of leadership. It's like what you need to do. But it's one of those things when you get busy,
becomes difficult.
It becomes difficult to do with a just lead from the front sort of skill set. And we had at that point hired Annie, and we had a couple other good folks on the team. But there was a couple, any company's got its struggles with
go through.
Yeah, exactly.
People can take you to a certain point, and I was they're not capable.
I was like we would always switch between like operations and sales between the two of us, just like whatever seemed fun at the time. And I was like, we're gonna lose the nucleus of what we're building if we don't fix this today. And he was like, all right. And that was the last time we flipped responsibilities. And from that point forward, I did all of the hiring and team building, and everyone ultimately reported up through me. And that's one thing that I really focused on. And most of it's you just sort of like happen on great people, and you do your best to keep those people and work towards a group cohesion sort of thing. But it's also something that we worked with like very strongly too. For every position, I tried to like craft the best ad to get the largest amount of inbound candidates. And I would just do calls every 15 minutes. I would get hundreds of resumes. And this, is a different time, but I would just get hundreds of resumes, and I would go through like screening all of them. On a phone within 45 seconds if this is someone that you want to work with
or not. Yeah.
And then we'd do big group interviews because I wanted team buy-in. And then you're doing two things with a candidate. You're trying to seek out whether or not they have the capabilities to do what you need them to do. Right. You're figuring out whether or not they'd be a good fit culturally for your team. but you're also pitching yourself simultaneously, right? You have to convince them like, hey, I don't just need your credentials. I need to sell to you that this is actually a good place to work. And the biggest thing is if they agree to do that with you, you've got to back it up. Yeah, right. You just told someone that this is a good place to work. It's now your job to make sure that that's actually true.
Right.
And so
you can sell a culture, but whether you can sustain and maintain once somebody's there, if the culture's not real, then they obviously find out.
And it doesn't mean that there weren't any slip-ups. It didn't mean that, everyone was perfect at their job, myself included. But, that's the one thing that I tried to work for every day, because I was fortunate enough to be placed in that opportunity in a family business. Not everyone has that same opportunity. And I've always sort of thought like it doesn't matter, the gifts or the tools or the silver spoon that you have to start with. It's what you do with what you've been given that actually makes a difference.
Right.
And so I really did try and show up every day and reinforce the culture and make it a fun place to work,
I don't think you would be categorized as somebody with a silver spoon, though.
That's fine.
But
you guys were raised great. I mean, you had to work for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
but but
I have been afforded opportunities.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
And you got to appreciate that and really work to make sure that you're doing something with it.
And I think that has been showcased, right? Like you guys have showcased that.
We had such an awesome team.
Yeah, I mean, but not just say that and I don't want to say that I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but Casey is now a leader. She's a market leader. Mendoza, Annie, Bree,
Annie,
all
Bree,
these people have come from Mountain Parking.
Installer out in the field, Karen, was it?
Kate.
Kate
was one of my Antarcticans.
Yeah, so is she still around?
Yeah, she's doing sales engineering for Metropolis. They poached her over there.
Oh, so she was at Flash and they poached her over. Wow, that's
so this is what I'm saying is that from great leadership. I mean, you guys were able to model that so that the majority of your people that you had, your team grew into these bigger positions, whether they're still with Flash or at a different company.
And then there was Mary behind the scenes, the real boss.
Pulling the levers. Yeah, exactly.
And now she's just throwing weights around.
throwing weights around, hanging with the multitude of grandchildren. She's in her element. She's doing good.
So I think we talked about you guys and Mountain Parking obviously successfully transitioned to Flash. You guys were purchased.
Yep.
And then you worked for Flash for a while. What was it like? Because obviously at that point you lost your parents, not literally, but from a working environment. So you had to transition from a family business mentality to
more of a corporate.
So tell us about that. Was it challenging?
I just like meeting new people.
So
I got in and I was immediately like, look at all these new friends.
So it was then it was a good experience for you because you had worked a lot of years under the family umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a new frontier.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So I was still placed in positions of, being able to help and make, big decisions and strategic moves and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, you sort of have to execute along the way with the day-to-day responsibilities that you sort of have. And, I think different people, especially at different levels, would have maybe a slightly different way that they tell the story. But in my opinion, Flash wasn't I didn't have any problems with bureaucracy or politics. Yes, there are more decision makers, and you can't just the thing with a small family business. You can just be like, "Oh,
we're doing this.
This is the good decision. It has been done,
decided."
And obviously, that's not going to be the case with a much larger organization. And
I've had to go through that transition.
For the most part, I didn't have any serious withdrawals of not being able to immediately make decisions. For the most part, it was just look, this is a good call. These are the 3 people that. That decision would really touch. You have to explain them. You have to get it on board. And, I'm a friendly person. So for the most part, I didn't have problems convincing other people of what my ideas were. For the most part, you just
you're not just friendly. You're very authentic.
Yeah.
It comes through.
Yeah. You build the relationships before you tell someone, I think my opinion is right.
Right.
So there's definitely changes. There's definitely growing pains, but it was never difficult to get anything done because for the most part, we were all aligned in most things, and it was just kind of like, hey, I think we need to do this. Especially when I first joined, like I just told Sam Goodner, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna keep making decisions, and you can smack me down when they're not good ones. Right. And then as Flash grew and we got my group was absorbed with the Arrive team. My group, I didn't have a group. It was me.
It was
then
you.
we built a group at the Arrive team. And so some of that decision layers changed. But no, I mean, Flash was fantastic. So
there was no anxiety for you at any point?
No.
That's cool.
We knew it was the right call. I'm still a huge fan of parking VARs. There's a ton of value that they bring, but that part of the market is being squeezed by, people like, say, Flash, that's a technology company that's a bit more direct, companies like, Metropolis and everyone else that are operator and technology combined. The importance of VAR market in the business is shrinking. Yeah. And we knew it was the right time, it was the right call. It was the right call for the family business. And also for, the employees. That's a tougher transition for them than it is for me, because there's going to be a lot of changes going on. But for many of them, it was like, these are immediate promotions, better
amazing
pay.
opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, from a personal standpoint, it was definitely the best. From a group standpoint, we still hope and feel it was for the best. And I've had this conversation with a lot of them. It was a good call. And so there was no anxiety. You never know how the future is going to turn out. What I always tell people is like, hey, I got inside Flash and no skeletons in the closet, but you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
You never know. But there was no anxiety because you do the best with the information that you have at a time. That's all you can do.
Okay. So you were at Flash for how long?
Almost 4 years.
4 years.
And it was great.
Time flew.
So I always focused on kind of like the most frictionless version. How do you just do this with license plate cameras? I'd spent my whole life doing gate arm. Gate goes up, gate goes down. Gate goes up, gate goes down.
Yep.
And so it was like fun in a new, different role. And what was really fun about it was every 6 months I was like in a new department. I still had my same core responsibilities, but there was like a period of time where it was like, okay, you're in sales engineering, so go build up a sales engineering team. There was times where it was like, okay, you now report to product strategy, and the product strategy team works with the product strategy works with product management to make sure that the product's being built in the right way. So I was able to sit in product, sit in sales engineering, sit in sales. And so I've got, like every 6 months I had something like new, interesting. I actually did a lot of one of the most fun things was the financial planning and analysis section. I was like, these guys are worse than me.
See him smiling.
These guys are worse than me. Like I ran, like, I didn't know Excel had this many columns. I didn't know there's 50,000.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick out all the things that you just mentioned, where's your heart at? Which one do you like doing the best? I think I know the answer, but
I liked the variety. So Alan was like, Zach, you guys, like, we keep kicking you around in different divisions.
Alan
Polton.
I know who you're talking about, but I wanted to listeners.
Sorry, Alan Polton, everyone.
Yep.
He was like, Zach, I feel bad. Like we're like constantly kicking around into different groups. I was like, wait, no, Alan, I like that.
I like it.
That's actually
I like
that's actually
challenge,
the best.
Yeah.
That's a feature, not a bug. I think ultimately, if I'm going to have a job, it's going to be sales engineering, technical sales. Yep. What I've told people is like,
ding, 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 ding. I guessed it.
I need two aspects of my brain to stay happy in life. I need to be creative on the business side. I need to be creative on the technical side. And as long as both of those can kind of be balanced, if it's just sales, I'll get bored and antsy. If it's just tech, I'll get bored and antsy. I kind of have to. I need both of those spheres
something
of the brain
to build.
I need both of those spheres of the brain to be firing.
You need the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so successful, of course, we all knew. I mean, mountain parking was successful. What a great story. Obviously, we told that on our first show. I don't think most people realize your involvement and and the value that you brought. I certainly did because I was
in the
pretty
industry,
close to it all.
right?
Yeah.
Just in the industry in general. I mean,
Then your transition to Flash was successful.
Yeah,
So-
fantastic place to work. Yeah.
Yeah, so you left Flash, and then you were on like a hiatus or whatever we call
Yeah,
it. So
sabbatical.
Well,
Zach's
a
sabbatical.
But it wasn't really a sabbatical
Well-
because you were building
Tinkering,
shit.
yeah.
You were tinkering.
well,
we won't
so
call it tweaking.
how before we move into your next phase of life, like how long? Because not spoiler alert, but how long were you in parking? Like,
Jeez,
how many years?
I think at one point I was counting. I was like, I think this is my 18th IPMI. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, somewhere in that realm of
18 to 20 maybe.
Yeah.
and he's only 20.
Yeah.
21.
I just got my driver's license.
He's only 21 years old. Happy 21, brother.
Happy 21.
So then you transitioned out of Flash, and then you started doing your own thing, but you came to us. When I say us, Joe and I at OVG, and you're like, "Hey, what if I just build some cool shit for you guys? What does that look like?"
Yeah.
And so talk a little, and we obviously were like, absolutely. So talk a little bit about
Wait,
like that.
before you get
transition.
into that, I mean, why did you leave Flash?
So
gotta ask
the question dovetails perfectly. I had a great time at Flash. All of my bosses at Flash were great. As AI large language models started getting better at writing software, I've always been very technical, but I've never been I didn't go to computer science. I can write little scripts. I can't fully develop software. So as LLMs were getting better at writing software, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I could like plunk and I could do this. And then there was some sort of tool change. I don't know. I got Cursor or something. And I started like really looking at how AI could write software. And I was like, I have to quit my job immediately and figure this out. That's it.
That's what he did.
That's what I did.
So you wanted to tweak and build things.
I knew I needed to spend 40 or plus hours a week just playing with the tools, figuring out how much better I could get at building these sorts of things. I was just like so manic. I was like, I have to quit and get better at this. Which in hindsight was a little dramatic.
Yeah. So your dad's like your best friend, so I'm sure you talked it over with him.
Absolutely.
What advice did he give you?
Yeah, go do it.
Yeah.
A lot of it too is, you know, he's obviously an entrepreneur. So back to Scott, growing up, we moved to Colorado when I was 5. He built mountain parking Monday through Friday and then built the house I grew up on weekends.
I know. That's.
And so that, you know, it's easy to say sort of like entrepreneurial spirit, but it's just like, he's just like, yeah, I'll go do it. I'll go figure it out. And, you know, I've inherited some aspects of that genetic predisposition. And
you're doing a different kind of building, though. He was more physical, and you're more.
Yeah.
Not that building software is not physical. I've never built software.
It's what you fall into. Well, what I really like is the intersection of physical and whatever. A lot of people who just write software, it's like, okay, so the monitor changes, the screen changes. I always love the ability that you could like click the open button on the McGann software and the gate arm. You can hear it click and then
it goes up.
It's like that intersection of the physical world and the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, yeah. So you know, the advice from my dad, I was like, look, this is fantastic, having a great time at Flash, but I think I want to go build some more stuff. He's like, yep, do it. Go for it.
you got this.
Yep, exactly. That's it. That's the advice from my dad.
I've been trying to get him for years, so you know,
I mean,
disappointed.
not to say that you followed in his footsteps, but in a way that you did, right? Like you're building your own company Monday through Friday, and you have a family. Like,
yeah, you
wife
had
and
2
kids,
kids somewhere in there,
and so like that's kind of exactly. I mean, I guess the leadership that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You know, for what my dad did, like quitting in California and just sort of heading east and crossing his fingers. I'll figure it out.
Rolling the dice.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got that kind of luck, though. I feel like he always figures it out.
Okay, so you left Flash, and then you started building shit for OVG.
Yep.
Right? That's where we're at.
Yep. So
what are you building for OVG?
Well, we had this conversation where he was like, "Hey guys, like, what do you need?" And at the time, sorry, not to answer, not to talk for you. But,
I'd much rather a softball intro pitch of this rather than me to give the elevator
this is
pitch on
going
the
to create
podcast.
a lot of antennas going up. What is Zach building for OVG?
Well, he was like, where can I bridge the gaps, right? Like, I think that we have so many wonderful technology solutions out in the market now, but bridging the gap between a lot of it is like what we were lacking. And we were like, well, these are our specific needs. And Zach was like, listened and was able to figure out a lot of
and I'm just one person, I didn't go out and get VC. So, the ambition level changes a little bit, whether you're going to like change the world or just like, no, let's solve a problem. Let's get creative and solve. So working with OVG on solving some like reservation analytics. And like, how do you increase, how are you tracking your demand to make sure the right amount's coming in, as well as some auditing on the background to make sure, the amount of cars that have come in is the same, that is the amount that you're expecting. What's the no-show rate? Those
pretty
sorts
cool.
of things. Yeah. And a lot of it too is, just like, how far can I push myself? Can I actually build this?
Right.
So I started with just kitschy personal projects. Okay, I can write a little bit of software, but how do I deploy it? And a lot of it's just like, okay, you're using, ChatGPT or whatever, just to like get the first layer. And then it's like, okay, go recommend some books. So go recommend the book. So it's just like building up those layers. And this was the perfect like intersection of being creative with technology, but also being creative with business. It's like it needs to serve an actual purpose. So yeah, been working with OVG on that.
And you're building that. So now we're back to the, how your dad was building the business and then building the house.
Yeah.
Now this, you're kind of in that same role because you took a little hiatus. How long did that last? Like
a year.
Yeah. And now you're with you and Greg Mason.
You officially, you technically left parking. Like, you're not technically in parking, but your company has adjacent, a vertical of parking that you're not working as directly.
I'd say it's still mobility though, right? Trucking.
I mean, let's hear it from Zach. Let's figure it out.
So I got a job at a company called Outpost. So I have once again rejoined the ranks of the gainfully employed.
And you're building shit for OVG still.
Yep,
so
exactly. So it does trucking and logistics. It's just parking technology. Yeah. So it's parking technology, but for trucks. And the company is actually a company that like runs its own parking lots and has sales teams that and that's what Dani was saying, was like, it's weird to go to a company and the company that sells, the aspect of the company that sells reservations to make sure that the lots are full and parks on the lots. They call that the parking division. So not only have I sort of left parking, but the company that I joined has a parking division and I'm not in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What?
What is Outpost in the trucking space? What exactly are you doing?
So Outpost buys or manages truck parking lots across the country. They've built a fleet or a set of parking locations that you can park your fleet at, right? So you need to expand your if you're a trucking company, you need to expand your operations west. Traditionally, you'd have had to have like spent millions of dollars on real estate so that you have your own industrial outdoor storage lot. With this, you can either utilize Outpost's yards, or if you have a yard near them and you're getting full, you can use it as overflow spaces. They're
providing truck parking.
Yep, exactly.
And are they doing anything with like rest areas and
not rest areas? No,
stuff.
This is mostly industrial outdoor storage as well as some logistics hubs.
So what kind of technology are they deploying?
Well, so that's the thing, is their whole thing is to buy real estate and make it work better. And, there's returns for having more valuable real estate and the money that you make off that real estate with the trucking. And so they were like, okay, one of the things that we could really do with this is increase the value through technology. So they went out and hired a really skilled tech team, tons of experience. These are the folks that like worked at Microsoft for years, built Reddit, built Etsy, that sort of thing. And just figured out how to apply machine vision and large language models for chat interactions in order to get these people in and out streamlined. You don't have to
So they have their own vision.
You don't. Yep, they've got their own vision.
That's going to be my next question. Is there any room for?
We've got
a vendor.
We've got
Of course.
Not today. Always opportunities for business. No, we've got like teams with like that are building these pipelines, like these vision pipelines, and we're bringing the data back in. And I've been on like sprints where like all of the devs get to work together to like mark and make sure everything's like
That's cool.
being updated and going back to retrain the models. Yeah. So they built the tech stack for it and have been wildly successful deploying this at obviously their lots. If you're your own customer,
Yep.
It's working.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But so they deployed it.
Where are they out of? Who started the company, Outpost?
The CEO co-founder is Trent, and it's based out of Austin. I Googling them right when Greg first started telling me about this. I was like, your office is like next door to Flash. I was like, I love flying into Austin.
Back to Austin.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Austin Bergstrom Airport.
I was like,
right?
Barton Springs Road. Whoa. No, so there's the headquarters is in Austin. The technical headquarters, which I report through, is in Seattle. So they had this tech, and they were like, I think that this is actually probably going to be applicable to a lot more people. And they hired my friend Greg to do the whole Greg Mason,
I love.
Many listeners of the show know Greg Mason and are fans of Greg Mason. Many listeners of the show know Greg Mason and have headbutted with him in the past because
I'm a fan of Greg Mason.
I mean,
He's
I feel like
genius.
if you've been in this industry long enough,
that guy is.
That it happens.
Yeah.
He is.
I actually don't think I've ever met him.
So Greg, calls me and he was like, hey, like, well, the first I was like, wait, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I was like in this. And then I spent some time, I like researched it a bunch and I was like, started writing questions to him. And by the time I sent the email, it was a novella. I mean, it was long. And he didn't reply to me for quite a while. And I was like, I should go read that. I think it sounded accusatory. I was like trying to look at total addressable market and this and that and how is it possible? Like, dude, this seems like a bad career move. And I didn't say that. I was like, did my email sound like that?
Is an explosive thing going on. So.
No, it is.
Well, and so I was like,
I would like to know where they parked the trucks before truck parking.
Well, it's one of those things where
truck stops.
I don't know.
So here's
what the hell did they do with all the trucks before?
So in parking, we're used to parking, and there are like 7 parking spaces for every vehicle, right? You have your garage downtown, you have your garage at home, there's the street parking out front. Trucking is the inverse of it. There was 1 parking space for every 7 trucks.
Wow.
So parking is a huge problem over there. So they're like pulling off on the side of the highway, or it's like just rest stops.
Or parking around the block.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because trucking it's not like there hasn't been trucking, but all of a sudden it's like it's prevalent. You hear about truck parking. Yeah. Maybe it was just a challenge and just nobody in our industry knew about it.
And the same
before.
sort of thing. The moment that you look at something closely enough, you're like on the road and you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of trucks around here.
Yeah.
Don't notice it until you look close enough.
Interesting. So
Greg was like, finally replied to me by saying, hey, just by the way, I'm in Denver if you want to get together for breakfast. I was like,
he came to Denver and didn't say hi to me or reach out.
He had
hey, Greg, man, what the fuck?
It was well, so that was the thing. It was like, it was a long haul flight or whatever. Like you just had like your meeting was over there. You just had a layover in Denver. He was like, Greg. He was like, no, I just flew here to see you and see if you wanted breakfast.
Yeah.
I was like,
did he bring a chicken for you, or did you give him a chicken to go back? Yeah.
If anyone wants the Greg Mason chicken story, you're going to have to hit me up personally.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was like,
chickens can go through security, by the way. Yeah.
Chickens through TSA.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Yep.
A story for another time. Clearly, this is going to take up a full hour.
I know.
But he, he was like, hey, Zach, they've hired me to go to market strategy. Do you want to, can you help me with this? I was like, no. I'm busy. Look at what I'm doing. Like,
I'm building shit over here.
I've got some stuff that I'm in the middle of. And he was like, no, like, come see how cool this is. And he took me through a bunch of it. And I was like, this is too interesting of a hill not to climb. This is too interesting of a challenge to not thrust.
So he got
towards, yeah. Yep.
But now are you on the sales side? Because okay.
Well, so it's brand new go-to-market strategy. So what do you need on day one? You've got a tech platform. You think it's useful. There's definitely some interested people. What do you need? Sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. So how weird?
Go see if go see where the rubber meets the road and
So I think at IPMI there was a truck show going on at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's this whole new world. Like I'm like Googling like
truck parking show.
I know there is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be at the truck parking show. Are you going to NPA?
I don't know if I'll make NBA this year.
It's because you should go to venues now instead. But venues now. Because venues have a lot of additional space on non-event days.
That's right. To park
potential
trucks.
Truck parking.
Right.
So you're on the sales side, but how interesting is it to get into a new role at a new company that has a parking vertical, has a tech vertical, and not be in any one of those, because that's kind of your
right. I am cozy in parking because there's lots of people that know me, right? Mm-hmm. Like you go to shows, you go to this, you know who's who, you're chatting with friends, you're getting updates. And when you sort of like fall into something exciting that you're just sort of like the new kid. It's like, oh, yes, reporting for duty.
It's like kind of starting all over, right?
Yeah.
Starting from ground zero.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good exercise in pushing myself, right? Like you can get used to what you're doing, used to get on your resting on your laurels.
So how are you, how do like, when you say push yourself, what kinds of things are important? Like you're starting from ground zero, new industry.
Yeah.
So what are your 3 bullet points that I need to?
Trying to figure out and this is something that you'd be way better at than I am. It's just like, what is the whole dynamic of this that gives pain points that's good for just like cold outbound sales?
So understanding the big picture, and then identifying what the problems that need to be solved.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then, I mean, the moment, like I'm a cheerful guy and I get the technology really quickly. So, the moment that you're having that conversation, you can sort of float ideas, see what comes back, pick up on difficulties and pain points and be like, oh, actually, we can do this or this or this. So it's like the moment that you sort of get their attention, that's
I can
fine,
see how,
but it's very unique and new and different. So it's,
I know I can see how that would be a challenge because you grew up your entire life in parking. So for you, at some point, it's like what the challenges are, the evolution.
Right.
But now you're in an industry a little bit different, not familiar with, so you've got to understand it.
It's pretty interesting
before you can sell it.
It's really interesting.
That's cool.
And then I'm also working on trying to automate myself out of a job.
That makes sense.
No. So the other thing is like, how do you apply all of the new tools that are available, or build new tools to help? Like, okay, so all right, I figured out this aspect of this sales part of the job, and I've been building software to do like solve parking specific challenges. I was like, I bet you there's a way to like automate or like start to figure out like smarter ways of doing sales touches. And so I like got right back into, the code writing software. And I was like, all right, we have this data from CoStar that's, lives here, and you can integrate out to your email system and you can do research. So I've been building this system that like, it's like, because in parking, it's like, oh, I know that company, they do this, they do this, they do this. But if you go to a trade show for the first time, it's like, I haven't heard of any of these 700 companies. So it's like, who's a competitor, who's a customer.
That's right.
And so I'm building these like workflows that it's going out and researching and writing me back a report that's like, this is what this company does. If it's a potential customer, it'll write a full report. It'll have a list of all of the locations they have, as well as Google Map links so you can look at them. It'll like queue up, like it'll do news research. So it can be like, all right, if you want to talk to these guys about this, here's here's the 3 things that you
So
could
kind of
quickly
like
say to them.
AI. Do you use AI for a little bit to do that?
I'm using AI to query AI to have AI write emails for me that I can humanly approve and say,
That sounds like me.
dude, that was terrible. Like,
Right.
You did a terrible job there, AI robot.
There's AI where you can plug in too to some of the companies and get like a.
There's a ton of tools that are out there, and I've been using some of them, and it's like you hit your head on like a feature limitation or something like that. And because I've spent the whole last year farting around in my garage writing software, I was like, nah, I could just build it.
Right.
So this is like, I was like, nope, this is taking me too long to like, it's not working. So it's like,
interesting.
that's been my last 48 hours. So sorry if I'm a bit hot on it.
That's
No,
cool.
I mean, I think that's great. Like
that's great.
your experience, you took your experience before you took your year off to implement something or to build something and to learn something during your year off.
Yeah.
So now that you're like building and utilizing right now, now.
I'm just having a wonderful time flowing through life, learning
Parking.
new things. Parking.
Now you're in trucking. That sounds cool. Trucking.
Trucking.
I mean,
Sounds
that's
about logistics. It's very important. The
Logistics.
movement of goods and services.
Yes.
I'm moving on up, guys.
That's right.
But you never get out of parking.
So that'll be a
No.
good cocktails party story. Or I was in parking and now I'm in trucking.
Which
Moving
still,
on.
which still
Which still will make people's
entails
heads
parking.
spin. Oh, you're a truck driver? No, not really. but
One of these days, we're going to find some sort of like really sexy career that we can all
I know.
tell people about. Not feel massive amounts of shame. No, I've always, I get people excited about parking. My whole gate arm and
absolutely.
the ticket.
Yeah.
They love it.
People are like, I think I kind of want to come work in
I've
parking.
never been more excited about learning about a new industry.
Yeah, parking. I still like. I think I need to steal your story, or I need you to train me on how to explain that, or be as excited because I still have a hard time telling people they're like parking that what, and I'm like, no, you don't understand, and I still have such a hard time.
You have to use your body. It's the
Yeah.
motion. You have to like jump up and say technology, and then use your arm as the gate arm.
Yeah.
Press a button, you get the ticket, and the gate arm does this.
The gate arm.
You're not adding enough
sounds-
physical comedy.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
You'll get there.
So Greg Mason and you are working together in trucking.
So that's the why. Number one is it just sounded like too interesting of a challenge to ignore, and the number 2 reason is working with Greg Mason is a career bucket list item for me. I've always been like, Greg, we're gonna start a company, and he's better at long term thinking than I am. So he's like, Zach, like I've got kids. I'm spending a lot of time with my kids in this phase of my life. I was like, all right, so we got 20 years from now, we'll do it.
Is he still going back and forth to Germany?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. So number 2 is like, my Greg Mason story is, we have the Amano Build 18 situation. Got this random call from this number, and I was like, I'll pick this up. And it was Greg, and he was like, I'm Greg with Town Park, and what about this? 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 I was like, what is happening?
Whoa.
What is happening?
The
And I was
Build 18.
I was
that
like-
before Build 32? And
I was like, no, you're wrong. This is this, this is this, this is this, and this and this. He goes, oh, okay. Click. And I was like, what just happened?
what a great model that was.
And we've been best friends ever since. So Greg's been a customer, he's been a vendor, he's been a competitor, and now he's my boss.
That's great.
That's incredible. And I also want to mention, I'm like,
he builds a
you
lot
might-
of shit too.
I used to tell myself, I was like, he builds crazy stuff. Sometimes I used to tell myself if I had like a really good day, I was like, I got a lot done. I had a Greg Mason day.
Greg Mason day.
So Dani, you were saying before I so rudely interrupted.
John, that happens too often, and I just forgot.
Not
We're
really.
shocked.
I'm cognizant of it. I keep my mouth shut a lot.
I honestly forgot.
No, he's too. It's too. He's a wonderful person to be around. Wonderful person to work alongside. And Dani remembered a question.
I did.
Nice.
Good call. No, it actually wasn't. It wasn't even a question. I was going to say it actually was just a call out. It wasn't even a question. But I was going to say, I feel like you're happy that you answered that random number that you didn't know, and I feel like you're one of the only people that would answer a random number, like this was out of curiosity.
This was before 15
the
years
days
ago.
of scam.
Before you had idiots like me programming AI to call you. Absolutely happy to take that call. And he's one of the people that over the years I've paid attention to. Like, wait, what you just didn't make sense. Like, can you explain to me why you did that? And he's been the catalyst for a number of interesting life changes that have allowed us to make triple the size of mountain parking and then sell it, and all sorts of other.
Okay, so gear shift.
Ooh, gear shift.
Funny parking stories.
I had actually. That's so funny. That was my next question. But I want
I'm intimidated by this question.
The best and the worst, because you have so many stories.
Well, here's best and worst.
Here's the thing. Like, I have always been on the tech side, and operators have the best stories.
But you've been on the tech side.
Wait a minute.
It's like, oh wait, like this guy was stealing, and it turned out it was this crazy ring, and then you're throwing stuff over the dozen.
I know. Mountain parking, when your day's there, you got to have some great.
I was going to say, you've done so many
stories.
site walks. I've done so many site walks with you. Like, just being on site and
dealing
some
with
cool, weird shit has had to happen in your career parking.
And dealing with some of the cats you used to have to deal with. I mean, you got stories.
So the one that most readily comes to mind was we talked about how I may have worked for the company when I was in summers in middle school and high school and stuff like that. And there's in construction sites, you have to be an adult to work on construction sites, along with your hard hat and your vest and your gloves and the rest of your PPE. And we may have been shorthanded at certain points in time before I was 18 years old or anything like that. So I've never really looked old for my age. I still can't grow a beard.
I know, you're 21.
Exactly.
You look 21, yeah.
So I remember we had a job site we were working on, and every time the superintendent would come around, I'm, a frail, whatever age I am trying to work on the stuff. My dad was like, go hide in the porta potty.
I think Scott actually did tell this story on his episode.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Go hide in the porta potty.
Well, he didn't have to hide in the porta potty, did he?
Right.
So I had okay.
Oh my
so it's
gosh.
the one member I remember. And GC superintendents, they're big old ugly dude. I mean, they're 6'5" and mangled and muscles and so
scuffed up cowboy boots.
I'm in the porta potty. I'm like, this smell is so bad. I cannot handle this. It's getting so bad. And I open the door and get out, and he is standing there. He's just waiting in line to go to the bathroom, but he is standing there, and I just look up at him. And I immediately turn around and just walk back into the porta potty. I couldn't think of anything else.
Oh my God. So he was pissed because he wanted to go to the bathroom. Probably.
I outlasted him. I don't know how he was feeling.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. That is funny.
Okay. So that's one.
Is that best or worst? Or the funniest, probably?
That's funny. You got another.
That's story.
You got to have a couple others. Come on.
What comes to top of mind?
I remember, I think it was 11:25. One time we were in we needed a new data cable to go between the booth and the storage room behind it. So I remember, again, being small, trying to hammer drill through the thing, and it's coring through the wall. And I hit a piece of rebar, and the drill bit stopped, but the drill kept going. Just nearly knocked myself out, seeing stars. Get up and do it again.
Going through, garage and drilling don't mix.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any great,
I bet you anything after we're done recording, you're going to be like, oh, I have the best story.
So I have a caveat on that because it brings up a memory for me. So you remember 1391 Spear? where the King Supers was underneath.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's a King Supers,
and
right?
that garage was a shithole because they didn't do any maintenance.
Sketchy.
They deferred maintenance for years. So the property manager had wheel stops put in on the upper deck, and they drilled through probably, I don't know how many post-tension cables were going that way, but they hit like 90% of the post-tension cables, putting in wheel stops and putting the spikes down through.
How did that end?
It did not end well.
You're supposed to scan.
I was going to say, what happened to the scan?
You gotta scan that.
What happened to the scan?
It was fucking classic.
Yeah.
The wheel stops looked great, but the garage was going to fall down.
Cleanest wheel
Literally,
stops.
the stair tower was breaking away at some point so it had to be condemned.
There's plenty of those times where you're like on the second, third floor, and you're like, that's parking garage floor, but that's floor 20 feet down instead of right there. Cool.
Yeah, so they had Safeway come in, not the grocery store, but I don't know what it was, but they built like reinforced shit. So they had to come in and reinforce on the second level.
Wow.
All this shit. Yeah, it was bad. It was ridiculous.
I have one other.
Can you imagine being that guy that I did a great job, and then it's like you killed 90% of the post tension on that.
The garage almost collapsed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember. So those were kind of the like sketchy young stories, but on the good side, I remember too. When you have service calls that are trickling in through the day, and you have to. You're used to wearing buttons, but service calls are coming in, so you got to go out. I just remember one time there was issues between the two servers. Annie is obviously the only person that can fix this, but she's at the office fixing something else. And I was like, I'll go. And so I remember going I remembered, I was like, this server had this, but this was getting like DNS resolution issues. So I reset the DNS settings on it or whatever, and it like made it work. And I remember calling Annie on the way back, like, Annie, it's fixed.
And she was like,
credit cards are back up.
Oh, I did it.
I always felt like a champ after like being on the phone with Annie and bringing something back up, because she would always walk me through things, and she'd be like, I don't think I need to come on site for this, Danny. So let's see if we can walk you through it. And it probably took her she probably could have showed up on site, fixed it in 2 seconds, and been back at the office or home. But in the amount of time, like less than the amount of time that she was on the phone with me. I always felt so good after. I was like, oh, man, I did that.
Fantastic troubleshooter, but also just like a human relations person.
Yes,
she's great at enabling you. You feel
100%,
good.
yeah.
So that's one of the things. You asked about, like, was Flash different? Were you anxious? And this isn't a Flash thing, but this is just like something you discover in general about, bigger companies and having a job and having your lane to stay in. The highs were higher and the lows are lower when it's your own family type business, and obviously a family business, but the mountain parking team was like a family too. Yeah. And so, at an environment like that, you're going from like, it's working to like, oh my goodness, we've got 2 weeks until the company's going under. Yeah. Like, and so you're just like immediately going between the highest highs and lowest lows. And that's one thing that I was like,
Yeah.
There's cons to that, but I definitely miss some of that.
So a bad experience in your 19-year career.
I am the forever optimist. I'm not like Pollyannish, like, oh, it all works out for the best.
It's not surprising.
But for the most part, it's just like, okay, when stuff's not working, you go and fix it. Lightning strikes, both metaphorically and plenteous, actually, in parking, and stuff goes down because it's been struck by lightning. But I've never, and some of it's just the experiences I've had. I've worked at great places. I've worked with great people. And so a lot of those things are going to be framed in a positive light. But for the most part, it's been like, nope, this is a problem. We will fix it and we will get through it. And when you look back, it's those challenges that you actually reflect on and grow from, and you remember them in a positive light, even if it's negative at the time, because it's something that was like.
So you got knocked down and you dusted off and picked yourself up and kept moving.
Yep. You either maybe you learned something from it, or maybe it was just like, wow, that was tough. Keep going.
Right. Yeah. I think the moral of that story is if you don't learn from something like that, then that lies where maybe a problem.
Quick iterations.
Yeah. So, okay.
I have another question.
Yes.
Being who you are in the industry and being in the industry for, so long, we have a lot of listeners who are in the industry and not in the industry. If someone is teetering on the idea of coming in or not coming into the parking industry, what would you say to convince them to do so?
Anything that you look at close enough in life is worth nerding out on. Anything. Like if you look close enough at this table, how it was designed, the lamination that went into it, like the more you peel the layers back, the more interesting it gets. And that is 100% true of parking.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
100%
I
true of
100% agree.
And I think that's the advice to people who are outside of the industry. Like, is it worth it? My advice to people in the industry is you too can build it. Like, even if you don't think you're a software engineer, take one aspect of your job that you think you can automate or make more efficient or make better and be like, all right, I got to pull all these reports and get it into this spreadsheet and upload it here. Shove that into AI. You can build the stuff. You can make it more interesting, more efficient. And the more that you prove that to yourself and have the confidence that you can solve these hard problems, the more confidence you will have to go find hard problems to solve. And tools are making that, using that part of your brain, being able to do that.
Like, I heard confidence in there, people.
Yeah. Lots of confidence. Well,
confidence is important.
I think I always say, like, parking, there's so much opportunity in this industry, whether you're in it currently, just getting into it. And I think that you are the perfect example of that, right? Like you started at a young age and you built a company, you've worked inside of a corporate company, and you were able to go from technology to sales to all these different verticals. And you can move, you can bounce around, you can grow depending on where you want to go. And it's
yeah.
So now that you're
go make friends and be curious about those friends.
Absolutely. Stay curious.
What do you do? Yeah.
I love that.
So now that you're in, I want to see you still go to the shows because
that's my plan.
We have fun.
Yeah, I'm not abandoning the shows. That's part of the plan is still going to the shows. You have to keep those.
The shows would not be the same without you.
Because I think you're going to find there's some connectivity.
There is. There definitely is.
Okay, so now that you're in trucking, when I was a kid, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And the trucks would go by the ghoulie goos. Yeah. That's what I used to call them, the ghoulie goos. Nice. And I'd go
Have
like
you taught
this.
your kids to do that?
No.
Oh, well, come on.
We're just wandering around our little urban farm. There's less opportunities. I don't commute. The kids aren't in the back of the car.
You don't take any road trips?
Yeah, we take road trips.
I got a gift for you. Yes. I got a Paraline trucking hat.
I will.
It's a trucker.
I want one of those sweaters, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I gave you.
Those are you gave me the other brand, not
the other brand.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but
you can say it.
I don't have a new.
Yeah, you don't have the
fancy updated. I don't.
Update.
Okay, so this is the question I want to ask. So now that you're in trucking, and kind of looking in, not because I think you'll find there's some connectivity, but now that you're looking from the outward in, and you have so much experience with our industry, where are things going? What's happening? What's going on
in parking?
Yeah. You've been doing this a long time.
From an outsider perspective.
You've seen a lot of evolutions. Well, where is this evolving? What's going on in the next 2 years? What's happening?
So there's what is on a lot of people's minds right now is artificial intelligence and what that enables people to do, both for like automation, but also like writing software and how the barriers of entry to that have been lowered. And so you see these things. And I'll start high level and I'll kind of bring it back down to your direct question, which is like, I think the over sensationalized version of something Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has said recently, like the headline was like, Satya Nadella says SaaS is dead, agents are the future. And so there's this narrative that it's like either this or that. Either you have SaaS or AI agents. And I don't think that's really true. I think it's not a this or that. I think it's a yes and. I think there's going to be a future for SaaS, and there's going to be a future for companies that have built revenue models on agents only and cost per token or cost per minute instead of a monthly fee sort of thing. So in parking, the questions are, are technology providers legacy because operators will build it themselves? And is it a this or a that? And I don't think it's a this or a that. I think it's a yes and. I think that you're going to see a lot of operations technologies, operator companies get better and better at software, which they should absolutely do. And I think that you're going to see technology companies that can use the same tools to really focus and get better at what they have and increase the product offerings that they have. And then I think we're also going to see hybrid versions of that too, where you have these technical platforms that are very solid at what they do. And, maybe the company, the operator, whoever's closer in the value chain to the end customer, they've got these great front ends that are very customizable to what a user needs. It's very specific. Their front end people are so close to that. And then they're pulling in the tools that's just like tried and true hardware, physical reality that can then be interfaced in with those things. So I think the future is going to sort of bloom into more opportunities rather than like a transition from something to something. I think it all actually continues to build like in more and more directions.
Right. Interesting.
And you could have, individual one-off folks make something that's very bespoke to one unique problem for a unique facility where it's like, oh, you need a this downstairs and a this upstairs, but I can write the API if you want to just say that, but I can write the middleware that's going to allow all of this to function seamlessly because I got these tools off the shelf. I could take these tools off the shelf, do a little bit of middleware and make it sing.
And so what I'm hearing from you is no matter what, there is still always going to have to be collaboration in the industry.
Collaboration.
Do you think that that's true? I mean, I'm not trying to be right, but like from like an operator perspective, like you said, who, they should get better at building their own, their own tech. But then we have the true tech companies who are always going to be better at doing what they they really focus on. There's still going to have to be some collaboration in order to.
Core competency is really expensive, right? To build hardware, it takes a lot of capital. To have all of the software, have that work together, it takes a lot of money, time, investment, sort of thing. And then there's, for the, I'd say, smaller operator that doesn't have the same amount of resources to put into anywhere near that big of a stack, they could have individual tech teams or,
or utilizing tech that's provided and sold.
Yeah, and to like collaborate on a smarter layer, I don't have the way that you interface with these technologies, right? An API or whatever, be able to much more readily interface with a very bespoke stack on top for a specific one or two use case. That if you have an operator that's like, hey, I am your, bespoke this. I know exactly these challenges you have. I can't just piece together a this and say it's good enough. It's like, no, what you need to sing is this beautiful thing. I actually am coming to you with exactly what you need. I fully understand what you need. And I need this set of vision cameras from, people who do that and have that core competency really well. But just like the way that they interact with these two real pain in the butt tenants, they just need that extra touch.
Right.
And they can build on those stacks that are hardened and like tested. And then you have that ability to collaborate with them to say, you're like, no, it's not just my canned reports that you're getting. It's like, oh, you want to go the extra mile to really make that sing for your customer, we are absolutely the partner for you, because we've got the hardened stack. Let you handle that extra mile that makes both of us sticky.
That's cool.
The extra mile that makes us sticky. I like that.
Sticky.
I do think that, and obviously that's not for every garage and every surface lot and every this and every that. But I think that I'm excited to look at the creativity of some of these people and what they're going to build.
Yeah, no, it excites me too. Yeah. Like I get really excited about how, like, just the innovation behind the solutions and tech companies that, I don't know, I think it's interesting.
It's going to make today you still have to be worried about AI writing funky software that doesn't work perfectly, and you don't really want to build a stack that's a mile deep that relies on layers of software that you don't understand. But for that last mile bit of software, today it's already amazing. And it can make people go so much faster if they can quickly prototype things, especially when it's going to enable creative types to do it too. You don't have to pull, like, you're like, all right, my friend from college, he does this. I'm going to have to convince him to take this risky career move to build something for me. It's like, no, you can build on top of other stuff too.
Right. So
I'm excited. I'm excited for everyone. I'm excited for what this
Zach is excited, people.
I know.
So as we wrap up, what is your parting words for the listeners?
You can build it too.
You can build it too.
You can build it too.
I like that. Hey, you can build it too. What do you think, Dani?
I love it. I mean, if Zach says it, it's definitely true.
Can you build it too? Are we going to build this audience this coming year?
Anything.
We can build it too.
This is
baby.
This is a great start to our fall season. So
yeah. Zach, thank you very much for being here. It's always a pleasure.
So fun.
Thank you for agreeing. I almost had to talk Zach into this.
Get to hang out with my besties.
So how nervous were you?
Shy.
How nervous were you coming on
your
first?
fancy dress up shirt today.
Were you nervous coming on?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a
Big
little
audience.
That's a little tone. That's a little toned down from your normal shirt.
You guys are such warm and welcoming hosts. I knew. You gotta find something interesting. And I've been in tech brain for so long, staring deep into the abyss. So I was like, do I actually have anything interesting to talk about?
Well, Zach, you're too important to the industry.
I think you're really smart, and I think you have a lot of things to talk about.
I think that you're too important to the industry to not speak up in the industry. And I'm very happy to have you.
I think what you've done here today, for the people that might not have known, some of us have known for a long time. I mean, you're a really smart guy with a lot of smart shit and a lot, So.
Speaking of smart shit, let me see if I can find it. You made me think of this.
We're going to see another. All right, we got a quote, people. One more thing.
This is from D Hawk, the guy that cobbled together Visa.
Oh my gosh.
And got all of the banking.
Cobbled together
He got
Visa.
all of the banking partners to work together to do this. He says, life is a magnificent, mysterious odyssey to be experienced.
I love that. I think that's a great note to end the show.
That's pretty cool.
Phone drop.
Mic drop.
I couldn't drop the mic. It's too expensive. It looks too nice.
Mic drop.
So, Zach, again, thank you very much. It's been awesome. Love you too.
Thank you for being here. Love ya.